Thank you for joining us for today's tutorial on the E-zekiel Church Management Settings and Roles and Permissions area. Today we're going to cover creating logins, roles, and permissions in the E-zekiel ChMS. In E-zekiel ChMS, you will likely want to create logins for staff and leaders. As an administrator in E-zekiel ChMS, you control two decisions: which features your leaders have permission to use, and which groups of people they can see when they log in. This way, you can enjoy flexibility and maintain security, control, and accountability throughout your E-zekiel ChMS system. E-zekiel ChMS uses roles to accomplish three goals. First, let's create a role together and then review how to assign roles to your leaders who will be given logins. First, select permissions and then roles. You'll see one role that is automatically created, the admin or administrator role. Each staff member or leader assigned to this role has access to all permissions in E-zekiel ChMS. It's likely that you will create logins for pastors or leaders who do not need access to every feature. In this case, we need to create a new role for each type of person who will log in. For example, let's create a role for outreach leaders and another role for volunteers who man your child check-in stations. Their permissions will probably be different. Create and name each role at the bottom of this screen. Once the roles are created, it's time to configure the roles, which means deciding which set of permissions each role allows. Think of a role as simply a set of permissions. Let's edit this role together. We'll scroll down and find the role for which we just created. Let's go to our outreach leaders role. We'll find the role and select on the editing pencil in that column. Unless someone is an administrator, we don't recommend checking or allowing the administrator permissions in these roles, as you'll see at the top of each role selection items. To configure a role, there are two steps. First, decide which features this role will have access to. Most leaders will not need to view or input giving or contribution information. Child check-in and volunteers would need access to child check-in features, and perhaps only pastors can see the notes field on a member or visitors page. So you can see that we've made all actions in the system available for customizable access per role. And let's say our outreach leaders role needs to be able to view some member information and delete some information, as well as add and edit groups and view attendance and membership reports. Next, decide which groups of people this role can view. In other words, each person who is assigned this role will only have access to the features you've checked and will only be able to view individuals in the groups that you checked. An example in this role is that we can turn on mass contact or simply mass email and text that we've checked. Now they'll only be able to view and send this information to the people in the groups that we check as well. Because I cannot view a certain group, I won't be able to send this mass text or email because we've not selected all the groups. You can also select all groups to be more convenient. Also, I can only view a person in E-zekiel ChMS when I log in if they belong to one of the groups I am given access to. Remember to select Save. And finally, tap the S key on your keyboard and begin typing the leader's name. They appear in the autofill search box. Select Enter, and now we see this individual's profile page. Select the Account tab. Under Roles in each individual profile, select the role we want to assign to the individual. Select this box, scroll down, and save. Now, JT Burney is now assigned these particular roles and can email and access and have the roles and the permissions assigned to these roles. If you ever need to remove access to a role for a person, go back to the same page and simply uncheck the box and select Save. That concludes the tutorial for setting up permissions and roles. Thank you for joining us for this E-zekiel ChMS tutorial. We hope that if you have questions, you feel free to give us a call or send us an email. Thank you again, and enjoy E-zekiel ChMS.